Welcome to Season 4 of Casting Confidential. This season arrives at a pivotal moment. Casting is now formally recognized by both the Academy Awards and the Critics' Choice Awards. Across the season, I'm joined by actors shaping today's film and television landscape, award-recognized casting directors, and industry leaders to break down how casting actually works, who gets in the room, how decisions are made, and what moves careers forward. No mythology, no guesswork, just honest conversations about the process. And if you want deeper access to this work, bonus episodes, extended conversations, and live discussions, you can join the Casting Confidential community on Patreon. This is Casting Confidential. Actors, you need to rehearse or record a self-tape, but you don't always have somebody around to read with. Well, I think I found a solution for you. It's called the Raffi app. Raffi is an app that scans your sides and lets you rehearse with realistic reader voices. There are over 60 of them, so you can run scenes on your own anytime. It also has an optional teleprompter built in, works in multiple languages, includes a web version, and even has its own script library called Playhouse, where you can practice scenes and showcase your work on social media. Whether you're rehearsing, memorizing, or recording a self-tape, Raffi gives you control over your process without having to wait for anyone else. Check it out at raffi.app. That's RAFY.app. And make sure you use the special code confidential15 to get 15% off. That's confidential15. I'll drop that code in the show notes. Hey, you Casting Confidential listeners. If Casting Confidential has helped you better understand the casting process, there's now a way to go deeper. On Patreon, we're sharing bonus episodes, extended conversations, and live Q&As built specifically for actors who want real clarity, not industry noise. You can join the Casting Confidential community at patreon.com/Casting Confidential. We'd love to see you there.
Let's go.
Welcome to Casting Confidential. I'm Rose Rosen. This is our Casting Director Roundtable, real conversations with real casting directors about what actually happens on our side of the screen. Today, we're breaking down what casting actually watches in your self-tapes, not what actors think we watch, but what coaches, and not what coaches sell, but what truly moves the needle. I'm joined today by Cheryl Louden-Kubin, Kimberly Skyrme, and Robin Carus. Let's get into it. You guys, I mean, this is such a hot topic. I mean, come on.
It is.
Yeah, they think we don't watch their self-tapes. They're busy trying to ambush us to know whether, and when I say they, I'm talking about actors, know whether or not we've watched and how much of their self-tape we've watched, and they want all kinds of, notices to know that we've watched it. And I feel like that's so invasive to our workflow, to our creativity. Like we're trying to get them jobs. We really want you guys to succeed, and you should. We only hope that you believe it, and that you think that our job is to watch 3 seconds of a tape and move on to the next one. How often are we going to get rehired if that were the truth? You have to come into this with an open heart and an open mind, and you have to believe, for all of it, that first of all, you're believing that you're going to get booked after 100 self-tapes, 200 auditions, whatever. And we are there with you in that belief. But you have to trust us along the process and believe that we are going to help you get there. But don't second guess us. It's so hard. Please, Cheryl, add in, because I could go on for hours, apparently.
No, I wanted to say that
I'm actually the one who chooses the sides that the actors read. So
Right.
I'm not going to give you more than I'm willing to watch, frankly.
Yes. Yes.
And I like to
The
keep it
line.
short, especially, right, especially for the first round, so that, we can weed out and maybe we add additional scenes for the callback. Maybe the director weighs in and says, hey, but part of my job is choosing the scenes to represent that character, so I have the actor in mind when I'm doing that, but I also have myself in mind because I do watch pretty much the whole entire
Right.
thing.
Right.
I mean, because it's very much a big part of what we do, and that's our
Well, there's
job.
usually markers in there of things that we must see.
Right.
That,
Hmm.
if there is a loud crash, we need to see how you respond to something visual like that, like working on a commercial right now. And that was the case. And it's at the end, so some people quickly heard the bad sound that they had to respond to, and other people a minute and a half later. So did I need to see a minute and a half of you just looking and watching and hanging out? But so I might have to speed ahead to see what was the impact. And then also, what are we looking at? Oftentimes I've had the question come up, do I really need to start with that other person speaking? Yes, the
Right.
reason we've given you that piece is so we want to see what you do when you're
Hmm.
not talking.
Yeah.
What do you look like when you are responding or reacting to being in somebody else's space? So everything we're giving you is for a purpose, and we are watching it. So at that point, if you cut to two lines before, I see that you don't prepare. I see that you're uncomfortable reacting and that you can't follow directions.
The
Huge.
the other
How am
thing,
I
Huge.
supposed to refer you to the director, even if your choices were good when you got there? Everything up to good was that you don't pay attention. So now
the
I'm
other
going to refer the actor who doesn't pay attention? Then I look like a fool on the other end.
Right. Right.
Additionally, a lot of times, like, for example, you're working on a commercial, Cheryl, you work on a lot of verticals where it's fast and furious. And, and for me, with some of the theater and film projects that I'm working on, again, we're working on things that are in development, we'll say. They may change, but for the moment, writers need to hear what's on the page. And if you're not going to deliver what's on the page, that's a problem. It's not a matter of, in haste, you forgot a the or an and. That's not what it is. When you're completely rewriting words because you feel like it, that's also a problem. And so, and those self tapes give us a really good idea because the truth is, we would never send forth a person to our clients and our producers, depending on the project, who are so careless with our writers' work. And it's an insult, actually, to our
Hmm.
writers with whom we are very much in communication with when we are in development with these pieces. So
Yeah,
100%.
one or two words to your point.
it
I mean, we're not sitting there with the script ticking off every word, but the point is there is memorization that has to happen. Some of these changes could change the context of the story, so you can't do that. And I did have in a live audition one time on an indie film that one of the actors turned to the director and said, "Do you mind if I just play with it? Can I just ad lib or whatever their question was?" And the director said, "No,
No.
Oh,
the
Yeah.
script. I'd like to
yeah.
see the script."
Yeah.
So,
I mean, we're
so
here.
it's best to try to deliver, so, which is not to say, again, some of our favorite lines that have gone down in history are an actor so in character in the moment that they may add something to what the writer director
After
has
casting,
written.
that is
But
when they're on
exactly, that's
set.
after you have the
That
job.
they've
And
lived in
again,
that
you work.
character and listened to the director and been together. But when you are in an audition and you're coming in cold, you don't know these people, read the lines. And for Christ's sake, if you're, if you're doing one line in a commercial, better get every and the and if it's one line, get
Well, and make
every
sure that you have
single
the
word.
brand appropriately, that you're mentioning the brand
All
properly,
the things. Yeah,
operating
make
the
sure
mouth.
your pronunciation is right. But for everything, I mean, uh, uh, even if you're labeling your tape with incorrect spelling, I'm going to notice that. You know, it's all so weird, but do as much as you can to the best you can, and it's going to help.
Hmm.
I think that it's an interesting thing because we're in the age of being able to package yourself correctly. And part of that is not simply the way that, like we just said about knowing lines and not taking for granted what the writer is writing, but really also because we have to watch so many things. The idea that you don't label your takes and you also don't label your videos the correct way,
Your
even
name,
your name, like
helpful.
a lot of times, when the download starts, I'll just get a random upload and don't make the onus on the casting director to have to label your video for our clients because that's not right and we're not your secretaries, and as a career person, you have to do that. It's just that's it. That's part of the
Well,
business.
and just the hours that it takes to do all those things. We were so in control of the logistics and organization in the old days that somebody would come in. I remember the luxury of having a camera person that I would give circle takes to, and then we could organize it afterwards. But that was also, we could see a very specific number of people daily.
Right.
And if we only had 1 week to cast, you can do the math on seeing, X amount of people an hour, X amount of people a day. Now, if we give you 2 or 3 days to send tapes, we can have hundreds and thousands of tapes
Right.
coming. Like we're human, even if we have a fleet of people in an office, and that is not most casting offices, to watch through the tapes. There's just so much work for us to do in half
And
of the time now.
and there's no continuity. So that's why if we ask you to do something in a specific order, slate this way, name, height, location, show your hands, both sides,
It's
full
all
body shot.
important. It's
it,
all
it's it's
important.
in it's my attempt to have some continuity within the tapes because the volume's always different, the lighting's different, so we can't control that.
Right.
And they have to understand that, and I think they do. But
And we
but
did have that control before that we could make sure
Right.
exactly, there was
some
continuity. You
It
did
was
the
semblance.
slate,
different.
you did your, yeah, and now there isn't any.
And
So
when
So yeah, so we'd have like the same background, same lighting throughout the day, a
Same
normal
same
prop,
cast.
if there was a
slate,
prop,
yes,
all
same
Every
of it.
slate,
if we had a
same
prop, we had
action.
it there with us. But you
Right.
guys are bringing your creativity, which is good.
Right.
Do follow those directions.
Yeah, I think following directions is a really important
Really
thing. And
critical.
and and if we need you to slate a certain way, and if we need to say where you're from, union or non-union, also a huge deal.
Huge.
That's for both SAG and non-SAG and AEA and non-AEA people, we need to have that information. It's vital
You're
because
available for shoot dates, that you're
Oh,
Right.
union,
And
non-union,
I'm sure the
whatever.
actors listening before they listened that why does it all have to be different? Can it be universal? Every client of ours has a different wish because the ad agency has wishes, the director has wishes, the production company has wishes. So we are putting forward to you what it is that we have to do on this particular project. So yes, mine always may be similar, but there's always going to be some special little add-on that this one wants specific, that one wants specific, because sometimes we need to know if you would shave or would you not shave. So there's just
Right.
please follow those directions because each situation for us is different. So we're not making stuff up for funsies so we can ask you to do things extra just for the sake of it. It's
and
all very purposeful.
and
hmm
And the idea is too, like, let's say when it comes to the almighty hair, right? We all love our hair. We all, but let's say for a woman, would you be willing to cut your hair? Would you be willing to change your hair color?
Important
Um,
stuff.
Yes, men, beard, no beard. How are you with that? Are you good with growing? And uh I had a very small in-person audition and we were asking guys in person that question. And some people kind of looked at us cross-eyed because I don't think they had been asked that in a really long time. But sometimes you are asked that on a self-tape, and it's a really important thing to note and to remember to include when you are giving your information verbally, because this is our way of banter that, when it's a self-tape that we have with you, since we're not in an audition room.
100%. I couldn't agree more. Um, yeah. So what do you guys think? Let's talk a little bit about the first 10 seconds. There's so much. I think personally, the emphasis is on those first 3 to 10 seconds because of the social media. I don't think yeah, before social media, I don't think anybody thought about the hook, the this, the that. We looked at actors, we gave them the sides, we directed them, and that was that. But now they're thinking, first of all, actors think we only watch 3 to 10 seconds of each tape, so they want to make that the most powerful. Even if we ask for their slate at the first, and of course a separate clip is a great idea. But if you ask for their slate at the front, maybe they put it at the back because they think you're not going to look past their slate. I don't know, but
No, we have to see the acting at some point. I mean, we
yeah,
can't
we
not
have
look at
to.
any of the
Yeah,
acting.
we're
You
not
know,
going
so
to
we don't
make a
say that.
decision on your look.
However, it is often just we're all human, that we don't start at 110. We just don't. However, in this day and age where it's not like being in the room with us where we could ride the scene with you. And if we did lose interest because maybe it wasn't sparking us in your first 10 seconds, we hit the middle with you. And now we're re-engaged because you did something that
That's
when
true.
that's when we were seeing 100 people. Now that we have 1,000 tapes to get through, we do need it to be dynamic at the onset to engage us. However, we have to send it off to somebody. And there would be nothing worse than me saying, now the third person on the tape, you definitely have to wait till second 46 because it wasn't interesting until then. Because that's the
Mhm.
message you're sending. If you're saying, oh, when they get to second 46, it's going to peak. We don't want to have to clarify points of your audition. We want the audition to speak without us saying anything. So it does need to be compelling from the moment we see your face, even if that's just a smile before your slate. Don't be disengaged and then start smiling when you're going to give your name. You need to be with us and present from the moment we see your face on camera.
And don't make the first 10 seconds the most interesting either. It should all
Right.
be good.
And for me, I like to see the moment before. I like to see not the minute, the
Right.
moment.
Yeah.
So I want to see you take a moment and get there, right? I don't want you to just, hi, my name's Cheryl, and da, 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 to be or not to be. No, I want you to take a breath, take a moment,
Right.
and I'm right there with you. For me, that is the most interesting. And also the same thing on the end.
Right.
After you're done, I want you to take a moment and
Mhm.
then,
We're
yeah.
talking
So
about presence versus
You're talking
performance.
about storytelling. You want to see the story unfolding.
Right. Right.
And if it's reacting, not acting. So that first
right,
word is spoken. And if there isn't a scene partner reading first, you are responding to something the audience has not had the pleasure of seeing or hearing. I want to know
right,
what you heard. And if you
right,
didn't convey
I
that before
right.
you started talking, I don't know what you heard.
I
Take
will
us on this ride. Take us on the ride.
Right.
I'll
Go ahead,
also
Robert. Sorry.
No, no, no. I enjoy. I'm building. And so, but I think that for the very reason you like that moment, like where you watch everyone build into the character, I love
Yes.
I love the moment where we watch them say thank you, because I love for that 2 second split
Yeah.
where they drop the character and then they say thank you
Connect the
and
dots.
the tape ends. And that to me, and I'm like, they were able to drop the character. Like that's when I know they built something, when we watch them become themselves again. And for me,
Nice. I like that.
so exciting, honestly. That's when
Yeah.
it's magic.
That's a
So
good line when we
Yeah.
watch them become themselves again.
Yeah.
That's a good
Like it.
line. Yeah.
Remember that, actors, like don't be the character all the way through so we can see that there is a difference between you and this character you created. And then we know you're an actor.
Mhm. Well, that's really them showcasing just how dramatically different they have become.
Yeah.
Hmm.
There
Brilliant,
is a line
Robin.
of
Yeah.
demarcation
Yeah.
between the character they're playing and the human they are.
Is there a moment you guys think that you see when an actor leans in? Are there any tells? Are there, what can you tell the actors that might help them? Where are those moments?
Well, for me, it's when I can see in their eyes that their mind is busy and
Yeah.
not busy with, oh, I forgot the line or is my lighting correct? But their mind is so busy with the story. I can just see the gears going. What's the conversation I'm having with my scene partner? What story am I trying to tell? When I can see that your mind is busy through your eyes, then I know somebody's dialed in. And when
That's
it's not that way, it could still be a lovely performance, but it's not striking my magic
You
bell
always
of storytelling.
you always know, right, when that person is not confident in the words that they're saying and
Mhm.
they have that look like either deer in headlights and or that look that they would rather be anywhere but doing that self-tape. It's like
Right.
anywhere but. And then it's like, wait, if you want to be anywhere but, then why would you want to be anywhere but on set? Why would you want to be anywhere but, you having a conversation with a director, because these are not the things to push aside. It's real stakes. It's the artistic slash business stuff that matters, and I always say, though our jobs are not curing cancer, our jobs are putting together beautiful art. And so or even if the art isn't beautiful, our job is putting together something with artistic integrity. So guess what? We want you to match our artistic integrity. Be that, you know?
Well, in the old days, for me, that look very specifically, you'd often get the that is not how it sounded in my head.
Yeah.
Because there was this weird film and TV thing. In theater, people would rehearse with people in the waiting room and they would talk. But often film and TV auditions, people would sit quietly out there and study their lines, and they wouldn't be doing it out loud before they arrived. And so then they would come in and I could see, and I would always ask when we'd turn the camera off, I said, is that the first time you did that out loud? And they would say, yes. Why? And I'd say, because your eyes were screaming, that is not how it sounded in my head. I don't care what words were coming out of your mouth. Your eyes were saying that is not how it sounded in my head. And it was, again, glaringly obvious. And now that the camera is so close, you cannot be thinking about the wrong thing because your eyes are sending one message. And I don't care what words you're saying, that if those two things are not working together to tell the story, it is obvious.
I'm going to pause this right here. If you're loving this conversation, the rest of this episode is available exclusively on Patreon. We go deeper into the real audition stories, the hard lessons, and the unfiltered behind the scenes conversations you won't hear anywhere else. Join us at patreon.com/casting confidential to hear the full episode and get access to bonus content, extended interviews, and our private community. If you're serious about understanding how casting really works, I'll see you inside Patreon.
Television and film with Rose Rosen, CSA, and all the friends. Bringing you Casting Confidential. Casting, that's essential. Casting, so eventful. Kinda tune in to close friends, chillin' with Rose. We call it Casting Confidential. Get a notepad ready, grab a pen and pencil. For magic to jot down, tell a friend too. A wonderful podcast and TV and film, we call it Casting Confidential. Let's go.